Night, apart from some drizzle in the west and south, lows of 14 to 17 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball.
Brought to you by Avantcard, powered by MasterCard.
This is News Talk.
And Ireland, there's your champion. Well done, Shane Lowry. You've made us all so proud. For all the hardship that he's gone through, for all the naysayers that said, you know, he'd never win a major, he needed to get fit, he needed to do this, he needed to do that, he's proved them all wrong.
He started this final round leading by 4.
Play so well for 3 days, you have a 4-shot lead. Now you're going to lose. It'll take some time to get over.
It's not easy to get yourself in a position I got myself in today, and it was there for the taking, and I didn't take it. But you can only learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, they're talking about my drop down the world rankings and talking about all that, but I'm not alarmed. 90th in the world at the minute. I mean, is it disastrous? Not really. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I remember being the happiest man alive when I broke into the top 100 a couple of years ago.
This to become the 2009 Three Irish Open champion, and he's done it. The pride of County Offaly.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I can kind of come in here a little bit more under the radar than the other guys. Like, you know, G-Mac's from here, he grew up here. You know, Rory's an hour down the road, and Darren lives here now. So, you know, and Paddy has 2 of these already. So I feel like for me, I can kind of be more under the radar than everyone else.
Lowry at 16, first green he's missed all day. Golden hands.
Let's hope he makes it. There'll be a big roar. Well done. Round of 67.
I'm fairly happy with 4 under. Look, if you had given it to me at the start of the day, I would have taken your hand off, I suppose.
Acceptable air of excitement around Portrush with Shane Lowry's charge. What about this? Oh, and he's nearly popped it straight in for another birdie.
We all had smiles on our face. He had this permanent smile over the 4 days that nothing was going to get to him.
You start thinking about it when people start asking about it. So, look, I'll obviously be thinking about it tonight. Look, there's no point shying away from it. I'm in a great position, but my God, have we got a long way to go.
Like. Listen to the roar as the spectators realise that Shane Lowry and Bo, his caddy, had worked it out perfectly.
The line is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Has he got it? It's just magnificent. The best shot we've seen all day at 16.
What is that? Shane Lowry.
I said to Bo walking off the 17T, I said, we might never have a day like this on the golf course again, so let's enjoy this next half an hour.
These two have done something and shared something very, very special.
With a score of 269, the winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Shane Lowry.
My family, what can I say? My mum and dad. They sacrificed so much for me when I was younger, and I'm so happy that I can hand them this trophy tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome along. That wasn't bad, was it? Shane Lowry, champion golfer 2019 at Portrush, winner by 6 shots. Ole ole, ringing out. Tears on the 18th. Dan McDonnell is here in studio. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Joe.
Richie McCormick as well. Richie, how you doing?
Joe, you all right?
Thank you for that montage.
You're welcome. It's good, wasn't it?
Big for you, Joe, isn't it?
It's a good weekend.
It's big for everyone. Really big for you.
You watched a lot of it, I presume?
Oh, I did, yeah. As much as was possible over the last couple of days, yeah.
The was one of the great bogeys in the first. There were nerves in the first.
But I think there was everyone's fears. I think there was that sort of sinking feeling as he walked down the first. The fact that you could, I mean, I know that he had a sort of a low flight anyway, but you could see that first tee shot off the TV going. Now that's just not like he's not trying to keep it under the wind here. That was just a really disastrous start.
Yeah.
And
thinking I've hit balls that low and it's not good.
It's like I don't want to relate to. I know we can all relate to Shane Lowry, but I don't want to relate to him this much, today if possible. So
the fist bump when he made the bogey, when he made the putt, as if to say, I'm bad. It's such a result because Fleetwood missed his birdie putt. We were looking at a 2-3 shot swing at one stage, and then suddenly the damage was minimised. He did text his caddy, Brian Bo Martin, who we all grew to love over the few days, I think it's fair to say.
It's a good double act.
Weren't they?
Butch and Sundance, I like it.
Microphone catching a lot of their conversations. The one on the 10th on the Saturday where Bo I don't know if I know him well enough to call him Bo. But
you do.
Everyone knows at this stage.
You see, he's been referred to as Bo so much by Lowry that you can get away with calling him Bo now.
Bo was convincing him 7-iron was the club. And Larry a few times said, but if I hit this 7-iron well, I'm going to run into that rough behind the green there, up on the edge of the green. And Bo said, no, you'll run down. And he came back again and said, I don't know, are you sure? Yeah, if I hit this. And he said, yeah, look, and if you go in, everything feeds down to the pin, we'll be able to chip in nice and easily. And he said, okay, and he hit the 7. And as Bo had said, Bo knows. The thing trickled down and he made a birdie putt, and that was when he went into overdrive on the Saturday and shot the 63 to set this whole thing up. He's leaped on a 4-shot lead. 6:30 a.m. he texts Bo to say, at least I got a good night's sleep. Being ironic. And then he went for a walk with Neil Manship, his coach, along a river. I was so scared about messing the lead up, was his point.
There's a brilliant conversation he had with Manship after this, because he spoke about him after that 67 on the Thursday as well, saying that he came into the tournament after a cup of coffee, wasn't it? They went for a cup of coffee before the opening round, and he came away from it thinking, do you know what, whatever happens here, I'm good. I'm in a good place going into this tournament.
It seemed to settle him down, because he felt his practice hadn't gone well, even though he's been playing well this year. They talked through everything. They talked through an 8 on the first, like somebody else. And they talked through leading, they talked through losing, they talked through everything, and then lo and behold, it all transpired. So just amazing for Irish golf. This is golf country, Dan. The stats back it up.
Not rowing country.
Over the past 12 years, Ireland...
Joe absolutely loves this stat. You can more of this stat on Golf Weekly across this week.
Joe's going to have this stat tattooed on his back.
Over the past 12 years, genuinely, this is unbelievable when you think about it.
Genuinely, yes.
Over the past 12 years, between Rory's 4, Harrington's 3, and 1 each for McDowell, Clark, and now Lowry, that's 10 majors in 12 years on the island of Ireland. 10 majors, that puts us, okay, you have to take away the USA, because that's just a behemoth. But that puts Ireland number 2 in the world, majors won. And in third place is South Africa with 4. So Ireland by distance, and I know it's a big if, but if you take away America, then Ireland, every other country in the world, the RNA jurisdiction, so let's put it that way, are on 10 majors over the last 12 years. South Africa second and 4. Quite incredible.
It's unbelievable.
It's a golden era. Like it is. Like I remember you would do, like people remember watching golf maybe growing up. I think you had Eamon Darcy actually on the Golf Weekly recently. Good stories about the 70s and 80s when, you know, when those lads weren't even sort of playing, and they didn't play in America really. Now I know the golf circuit was very different then anyway. And like they won the Dunhill Cup, which was like a massive thing at the time. I even sort of remember that. But to think that this is an event that whatever, I mean, it feels local because it's almost like, in your case, it's someone you know, and it's a golf course that you know, and like he's celebrating down the road today, you know, and people are seeing the pictures of him. He could be coming somewhere near you if you're listening at some stage in the next while. But like this is like a global event. Like I sort of listened to a lot of stuff. I was listening to like one of the American golf podcasts today, like dissecting it, just as you would if I don't know, if bloody Adam Scott or someone had won it by 6 shots, you know, and it is like an international event. There's no disputing that, and I think maybe there's almost a danger of it almost being underestimated because of the local feel that almost comes with it. And also the fact that it was so comfortable yesterday. I nearly at one point had treacherous thoughts of thinking, I could maybe drop one here just to make it a bit more interesting, because it was almost too easy because no one was coming at him from the pack. It was like, I still want a bit of suspense that you normally would have. It was just like, this is way too casual here, you know.
Keeping an eye on the scoreboard on my phone at Daily Mount. I was at the Bowes Pats game, and I was expecting, like, it was getting to, like, I think it was like 5 holes left, and I think he was leading by 5, and I was like, but like in the space of like there is a chance that he could still make a Hames. You're still working out that it could be a swing, and it just didn't happen. But those scenes, the one thing that struck me yesterday, and you know, there's a lot of pantomime stuff about, you know, my feelings towards golf in this show, but those scenes as he was making his way up the towards the green in the 18th, and the crowd swells behind him and comes down the fairway as the stewards all
old school.
I swear
it's Turnberry 77 stuff there.
I was gone looking at that. It was lovely.
You know what got me was his dad. So I wasn't overly emotional, I think, because there wasn't much drama, and then you saw his dad, and a part of me thought, God. Because Brian Gavin was even on the show yesterday, the referee, but of Offaly, very much of Offaly, knows the family, and he was saying, like, the Lowry family worked incredibly hard to allow Shane progress his golf. You know, he was working in the ESB, and then he was doing tiling as well, and they were working incredibly hard for him, and not, even his granny today was saying, look, money was tight. She did a brilliant interview on RT and won everybody over. All the Lowrys are just sound. I think that's what's emerged.
There's just something about the story that strikes a chord with everyone. And you mentioned you were at Bo's Pats yesterday. I saw yesterday, I think one of the pubs across from the ground, I think everyone, like people who don't really like golf still sort of like Shane Lowry. I think that's the striking thing. Like people shushed, I think, in one of the pubs, like to watch the speech. And then you saw pictures of Croke Park or whatever as well, a similar thing. And you can see these pictures from around the country that like people who wouldn't really care still felt that this was like a national event, almost a bit like people getting into the cricket back in the day or whatever. One of these, like an Olympics. Almost like an Olympics when people sort of tune into the final of something for a period of time. It was sort of comparable.
I don't know if it's a symptom of him winning the Irish Open while an amateur in 2009, but it almost seems like, and I don't think he would have been that person to do it anyway, most sports people, especially people who are operating on an elite level, as nice as they might be to deal with in and out, they put on this cloak of bullshit whereby they're their own person, they're their own island, they're untouchable, they might come into your orbit every now and again. Lowry never put that coat on.
No.
Lowry, he's always, in all of our dealings with him here, and he's been in the studio a number of times. I was watching back your chat with him, Ballyliffin from a year or two ago.
When he was in the horrors, by the way, with his game.
But there's no pretense about him. He is a regular bloke who just happens to be exceptionally gifted.
No, totally true. And do you know what? And we're going to move things on now and play his press conference, and we'll get on to Andrew Cotter, because we want to get the international perspective on this, because it ties in with your point, Dan. It felt so localised to me. It felt like just a big Irish Open and an Irish event, and then like he's in the Boar's Head today all day, and the videos are coming out, they're having a great time, Conor sketches there, and it looks like great fun, but it's so Irish, you forget that this is an international achievement. It was last night when I went onto the New York Times website and I saw Shane Lowry all over it that it hit me a bit more. And we'll get to his press conference, but there's also his accessibility and what a nice fella he is. I was just saying to someone, I hadn't really said it on air before, but it just kind of struck me as typical of him. I don't know him especially well. It's very much a professional relationship, the odd text now and then, but like once every 2-3 years kind of thing. But I saw him briefly at the Irish Open on Wednesday. We were in the same room, there were lots of people around. Didn't get a chance to talk to each other. He half waved over, but only half. And then on the Thursday, from about 20 yards away, he called over and said, Joe, sorry I didn't come over and talk to you yesterday. Now that was a nice thought. But especially when you consider he was on the 17th tee in a competitive round of golf at the Irish Open.
He's got you good, Joe. This is like...
and I thought that is him, thoughtful to the end. We'll get to the press conference audio. Like for kind of casual golf fans, there are good major wins and there are great major wins. There are the types who are sort of hanging around and then on a Sunday post a brilliant number in the morning and conditions turn and they somehow win a major. Yeah. And then Lowry has effectively, not quite, but effectively gone wire to wire on a really punitive golf course if you make mistakes. And then he's shot a 63 on the Saturday. Not all golfers can go low. Some golfers win things, but they don't have the ability to go really low. He shoots the course record. Then he has to sleep on a 4-shot lead. That's another massive test that some golfers don't have to go through. He sleeps on a 4-shot lead.
Again, for the second time.
Yeah. And then he has to go on a Sunday and shoot the opposite type of round of golf to what he shot on the Saturday. It is like the most thorough test of golf. Yeah. It is the complete opposite of a fluky major win. It's a phenomenal major win.
Oh no, it was impressive. I mean, I think, to be fair, if there was a bit of fortune, I think on Saturday, the later players obviously had the weather with them on Saturday. You know, the conditions eased up on Saturday, but he still had to go and do it, you know, with the way the schedule fell. But I think when you almost counter that break with like the local pressure that he had to deal with and that expectancy, that in terms of the conditions, I think the way the draw fell over the weekend, and I think even yesterday the fact that no one could come at him because of the element, he just had to keep his nerve. But that's a but in the context of a tournament that's destroyed people in that scenario, regardless of any weather.
I'm watching the way this week, the way that back nine had actually chewed people up. Like there were very good golfers undone by the last 4 or 5 holes on that course, and it just never looked as if that those were going to be any problem for him over the course of the week at all, which is just remarkable.
Amazing how Richie was constantly slagging Golf Weekly for years, and now there he is jumping on the bandwagon, says a texter.
Joe, I'll just say, you don't pick up a Peter Allis impression without watching a bit of golf.
That's true. Joe, admit it, a part of you died yesterday not being there.
Wow.
It was your Italian 90, Joe. It was Italian 90 and you weren't there.
Brian in Kildare. Brian, you texted this yesterday, I saw
right
it.
into the heart of you.
He says, I know you attempted enthusiasm and excitement, but I wasn't feeling it. A for effort.
Wow.
He spotted this yesterday. He texted in yesterday saying, I bet you had a grumpy head in you all morning, knowing that you weren't there.
Nathan Murphy Swan's in here.
How did Nathan get on?
Very well.
Hear about his day?
You know, being there, not being there, either way, you're watching on a TV in the media centre. That's why I wasn't that pushed to
Or you could have been at the 18th green watching him hold that putt and seeing the great ole enjoying part of it.
Could have given you a wave as he was carrying the claret jug past you.
You could have been in there with
Apologised
G-Mac.
again for not talking to you the other day while carrying the claret jug past you.
Let's welcome Andrew Cotter of the BBC. You're there, Andrew?
I am here. Hello, how are you?
We're doing all right. We're happy enough. You know, we're just reflecting on our 10th major of the last 12 years. Easy come, easy go.
Well, you see, there you are. You've unified Ireland already, and that's the point about everyone's talking about it. It's I mean, golf in Ireland is sort of one Ireland. So it felt, I don't know, people are really putting too much symbolism on it, but it felt something special because it felt as if it was at Royal Portrush. It could have been in Portmarnock. It could have been down Wexford. It could have been anywhere because it was just a victory for the whole of Ireland. But it was an amazing place to be, especially on the Saturday night as well. I think that's when it really took on the feel of something extraordinary.
One of the reasons we wanted to get you on is we were just remarking on the fact that it all feels very Irish and very localised, and you're sometimes not so sure how it translates to a foreign audience, and I guess you're putting slightly more of an international eye on things. Did it strike you as special? Did those scenes on 18 resonate with you?
I think so. I mean, they did resonate with me, and I'm a fairly jaded, cynical person as well. So it did resonate with me. I think I liked it as well because, especially on the Saturday night, it had a feeling that because I work a lot in golf and a lot in other sports as well, and golf sometimes gets just shoved off into the shadows a little bit, especially when you have a summer of amazing sport in the UK with Federer and Djokovic doing their thing on the same day that England were winning the Cricket World Cup final, Lewis Hamilton winning the British Grand Prix, and it was kind of like, right, what have you got, Open Championship, to make things stand out? And the fact that the crowds were so big there, obviously, I mean, they could have had 400,000 or 500,000 if tickets hadn't been limited. But the fact that there were so many people there and that it was such a, I don't want to say non-golf crowd, because that is a golf crowd as well. We see it at the Ryder Cup, but the fact that it was there at the Open Championship, which still has its tradition, but also can be lively and energetic, still respectful, but just to have that energy and that passion, that's why I think it was special.
We were also just talking about the quality of his golf. Not every golfer can go really low. He shot the course record, and not every golfer can handle rough conditions, and he handled those. So it was a complete test.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for him to go out, tied for the lead with JB Holmes going into the third round at 8 under par and shoot a bogey-free 63, that's pretty special. Now, there are a couple of lucky breaks in there, but every golfer in a great round will have a couple of lucky breaks. And when I saw the weather conditions were not going to be great on Sunday, I did think that, he's going to be even harder to catch. But that's not to say that he can't do it in good conditions, that he can't play on other type of courses. I mean, he won a WGC in Firestone, which is as sort of PGA Tourish a setup as you're going to get, and as far from Portrush as you're going to find. But he's got a fantastic feel, Shane Lowry, and that's why I'm a big fan as well, because, he's not the identikit golfer that we see. He's got a beautiful swing, but he's not sort of doing it by numbers and by method and by... in fact, I was reading a quote from him saying that, when he wants to hit fade, he just thinks fade. So he's a feel player, and that certainly stands you in good stead. He's got one of the best short games in the world. But as I said, he can do it in different conditions as well. Yes, he had that final round 76 at Oakmont in the US Open 3 years ago, but he got himself into position there. And as I mentioned, he won the 2015 WGC at Firestone. So, I mean, those are three pretty different courses. Those three courses there, Portrush, Oakmont, and Firestone. So he can do it in any condition. And I think now that he's got over this sort of real lull that he went into after failing to convert that US Open chance, then I think, he might be able to kick on from here. Yeah,
it's funny you say that, actually. I was at a clinic he did a couple of years ago, and he was being peppered with questions, and reached a point where he said, look, I don't know how to explain it, I just do it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's and he's had that for a while, and I think, I'm sure the story's being told about when Pete Cowan was brought over to by the Irish Golf
Yeah,
Union,
to the
essentially
GUI,
to sort of look and endorse the Rory McIlroy talent and say, yeah, he's going to be a big star. And when he said, actually, you've got another one out there, and they didn't know who it was, and say, yeah, it's the fat lad with the glasses. And so that was Shane Lowry.
Yeah.
But Pete Cowan spotted something early on with him, and he has that, and also. And again, I'm probably just going over ground that you've covered at some length, but the fact that he comes from a non-golfing part of Ireland, a non-golfing background, a non-golfing family, a non-golfing school, suddenly there'll be people from his, part of the world in County Offaly who'll be thinking, wow, golf, yeah, let's give that a go. And that's why, again, we're waxing lyrical about how special it is, but it is for any number of reasons. It's fantastic, and I hope that I would say, back to your original question about is it just an insular victory that we're getting carried away with it in Ireland? No, I think it is resonating. I listen to a lot of golf podcasts from around the world. That's just the kind of party animal I am, and watch a lot of golf coverage around the world as well. From other, I pick up the Golf Channel in the States and I'll watch that. And it does resonate. It's not just, this isn't just being seen as a victory. Oh, well, someone from over there has won the Open Championship and it's passing unnoticed. It really has actually, it has made people sit up and take notice. It's quite an important victory.
And one last point. I know you played Portrush a little bit as an amateur. It seemed to pass pretty much every test going. It's already been, 2024 has already been whispered about, so, it surpassed expectations.
I would be, well, actually, no, I was going to say I would be surprised that it comes back in 2024. I know it's got a sort of three championship deal.
Yeah.
2024 would be soon, but, the R&A, if they find a course that's successful in terms of crowd numbers and the number of people who come along and buy the tickets and provide the money, but also logistically, if they find a course that works. And so it's passed the test this week. So those numbers that we saw coming in. Now, I was at Shinnecock Hills last year for the US Open, for example, and it was gridlock, standstill, traffic couldn't move. When you go to St George's next year for the Open Championship, that'll be pretty tricky. Good course, but it's very difficult to get in and out of and quite difficult to access. Now, the numbers that came into Portrush, and they moved around freely, and yes, maybe accommodation, I think even that was okay in the end. So those are the things that really matter to the R&A. And the course itself is, I would put it up there with, if the older course of Turnberry is not on the rota anymore, which it doesn't seem to be, I would say Portrush is probably the best course on the rota. Right. So it ticks all the boxes. Right. So there we go. Probably will be back in 5 years.
Hopefully. Listen, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
No worry. All right. Thank you. Cheers.
Andrew Cotter of the BBC. We are pressing on. We've lots to get to here. So here is Shane Lowry himself. And he was talking in the press conference. We just put together a few bits and bobs from the press conference last night. He's been difficult to get today. We'll get him at some stage over this week, I'm sure. But he was talking about the moment when he certainly felt anyway he had his hands on the claret jug.
I hit my tee shot down 18. That was it. That was, I was home and hosed then, and I started to enjoy it then. It was just incredible to walk down 18, crowds going wild, singing ole ole. It's like it's like something that I just can't. I couldn't believe it was happening to me, and to have it was nice, very nice of Paddy and G-Mac to be standing at the back of the green for me, and Gary Murphy was there as well, who was a good friend of mine, and he was great to me when I started out on tour, and obviously to have all my friends and family. I spotted my family when I walked around the corner to kind of have a look at where the flag was, and I spotted them all at the back of the green, and to be honest, I welled up a little bit, and Bo told me to catch a hold of myself that I still had to hit a shot, and thankfully I hit a decent shot in there and two putted. So it was, but yeah, to be honest, I walked down there and I tried to soak it in as much as I could. It was hard to soak it in because it's very surreal. It's a very surreal experience going down there, especially with I'm sure there was a lot of the crowd that wanted me to win today. So to be able to. To be able to go home this evening, I'm home now, do you know what I mean? To be able to win it at home, and it was just so easy for people to make the trip up to watch me, and to be able to go out and celebrate with local people is just, it's obviously very nice.
Okay, next question, front right, please.
Shane, good art glass man, Bo Martin on the bag. Can you talk about his input a bit this week?
Yeah, Bo's been incredible the last year.
he started caddying for me about September last year, and just when I started to play well again. You know, he's brought a new lease of life to me. He's so chilled. He was unbelievable today. You know, he kept on my back all day, kept talking to me, kept in my ear. You know, I kept on telling him how nervous I was, how scared I was, how much I didn't want to mess it up, how that I can't. All I could think about was walking down 18 with a 4 or 5 shot lead. And luckily I got to do that. But yeah, he was great at keeping me in the moment today, and he's been great for me. Like like I said, he started caddying me last September, and you only have to see my results since then have been good. So he's obviously, you know, we formed a great relationship, and you know, it was amazing for him today as well. They had a baby 2 weeks ago, and his wife drove up today, and his baby was here today. His little boy was here, so it's amazing, you know, to be able to share that with. Like, I've known Bo a long time. And he's now become a very good friend of mine, and to be able to share it with someone so close to you is very special. Yeah.
Shane, I just wonder if you could just talk us through your emotions firstly, and your thoughts when you saw your daughter run onto the 18th just after you'd sunk your putt.
Sure, look, that means everything, doesn't it? Those pictures, we have one from Abu Dhabi this year, and we're gonna have another one. So you know, my wife knew no matter what to have her there waiting for me, because if things didn't go to plan, at least she would have consoled me a little bit. So yeah, to have her there winning is just obviously it's very special. And look, I'm going to be coming back. I have another 27 Opens to play in, so she's going to be nearly 30 when I play my last one, that's going to be nice. Yeah, so look, you know, I'll be able to show her. She'll be able to see those pictures in years to come, and it'll be a nice memory to have.
Shane, congratulations.
Thanks, Brian.
Just obviously an Offaly man, never landed on the moon, but I'm just wondering if you ever thought of winning the Open as a child, and when did you first maybe start to think, you know what, maybe I have the game to win a major? And sort of as a follow-on to that, how far away did that feel in Carnoustie 12 months ago?
I suppose I didn't even know going out this morning if I was good enough to win a major, you know. I knew I was able to put a few days together. I knew I was able to play the golf course. I just went out there and tried to give my best, and look, I'm here now, major champion. It's I can't believe I'm saying it, to be honest. I think the people around me really believed that I could, which helps me an awful lot. I do remember a lot of times in the past when I'm down on myself and serious chats with Neil, he always reminded me that he always said that I was going to win one, at least one, he said. So, you know, I suppose when you have the people around you really believe in you, it helps you an awful lot. So yeah, obviously, look, I'm Irish. I grew up holding putts on the putting green back home to win the Open. Like, it was always the Open, wasn't it? And I watched Paddy winning his 2 Opens. I mean, I didn't even know him back then, and I'm obviously very good friends with him. To have him there on the 18th, like, you go into Paddy's house and his claret jug is sitting there on the kitchen table, and I'm going to have one on my kitchen table now as well. So I said that to him. That's going to be quite nice.
There you are, Shane Lowry speaking yesterday in his press conference. We'll hear from Dermot Gillespie next, and also a few thoughts as well from Shane's dad, Brendan.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Brought to you by Avantcard, powered by MasterCard.
Get the best cashback rate in Ireland with the Avantcard Reward Plus credit card. Info correct June 2019. Source ccpc.ie. Avantcard DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
And if you turn to your left, camera's ready, one of our tour exclusives and my personal favourite, Ireland's must-see, the Walk of Cashel. Listen to it sizzle for